Hello you wonderful people and welcome back to this week's installment of Quick Licks. Due to the fact that I decided to don my prize Gibson t-shirt this morning, which FYI costs just about as much as a brand new Les Paul these days, I felt it would be really appropriate to grab my red Stratocaster and show you guys a Hendrix inspired Quick Licks. So come on, grab your guitars and join me and we'll take a look at how Hendrix would approach a 3-chord sequence and how we can add some real heat and spice to make these sequences pop and impress anybody. In order for us to successfully channel our inner Hendrix, there's 2 key pieces of information that we'll probably need to know. The first one is when you're playing your chords. So the sequence in this example is going C minor, B flat, and A flat. I'm going to go through those inversions in a moment in more detail, but the piece of information is for every chord that you're playing, think of the diatonic scale that goes over that. So in this case, for the C minor chord, think of the C natural minor scale or the C minor pentatonic scale. This is going to become really useful in terms of adding additional notes into the chord to create this Hendrix double stop that we're aiming to achieve. So key piece of information number 1, know your scale around the chord that you're playing. Key piece of information number 2, to really channel and make this an authentically Hendrix-esque lick, think of a 16th triplet. Now, a triplet is where you group 3 notes together in the space of 1 beat. For example, ratata, 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 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, triplet, triplet. Therefore, the 16th triplet is where we're doing the same thing offset against a 16th divide. So, in other words, a semi-quaver rhythm. For example, da-ga-da-da, 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 ratata, ratata. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, ba 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 ba. So that's going to be really pivotal in terms of the way Hendrix would do these sort of rhythmic approach he would have with something like this. So here are our chords: C minor. We're half barring on the 8th fret, so we're playing 8 of G, B, and E using our index finger, and then we're playing the root with our 3rd finger on the 10th fret of D. B flat, we're playing it as the 8th fret of D, 7th fret of G, and the 6th fret of B. Simply shift that same shape down 2 frets and you've got the A flat. So that's 6 of D, 5 of G, and 4 of B. So 3 shapes. Now, over the C minor chord, as I mentioned, I was using minor scale to create this double stop. So the main one that I was doing was this. So all I'm doing is I'm playing 8 to 10 on the A string. Then I'm double stopping, so I'm playing 2 notes at the same time on the 8th fret of D and G. Then I'm hammering on to the 10th fret of D and then pulling back off. And there's that 16th triplet, by the way. So get friendly with the hammer and pull there to really achieve that. So that's over the C minor. Then I used the B flat as a passing chord, just rhythmically that's where we were, to move into the A flat. And the line I was playing here was... So again, knowing your scales around it, because it's an A flat major chord, I'm basically picking out A flat major pentatonic notes. So what I'm doing here is I'm double stopping the 4th fret of B and E, hammering and pulling from 6 back to the 4 on the B string. So again, da-ga-da, that's 16th triplet, up to the next double stop along, which is 4 of B and 3 of G. Then I'm going to hammer and pull onto the 5th fret and back off again on the G string. And then resolving on the root tone of 6 on the D string. That will take some time to get used to. Think about your picking hand there, because it may be useful to use an upward stroke to really seamlessly get the 16th triplet working there. So we've got C minor. Then really the only other variation I was using on the B flat chord on the way back up to the beginning of the chord sequence was this. This is used a lot by guys like Frusciante of Red Hot Chili Peppers, for example. Yeah, so I'm playing around with like a suspended 4 here, so it's like becoming a B flat suspended 4. And all I'm doing there, I'm keeping the same chord shape where I'm using my 3rd finger to come down to the 8th fret of the G string and hammer and pull again whilst double stopping. So I am strumming in my right hand, in your picking hand, the G and B string at the same time. And then resolve back to the root tone on the 8th fret. And above all, just muck around with that. But just to recap, the 2 key ideas that are floating around in my mind there are that 16th triplet, da-ga-da, where I compare these double stops off the back of scale tones around each chord. So there you can really just grow the chord itself, be a little bit more flamboyant. And this technique really is a great way of marrying lead ideas with chord ideas too into this perfect sort of really creative approach to rhythm and chord play. Well, there you have it, a quick licks looking into the approach of the great Jimi Hendrix in terms of how to take a chord sequence and elevate it from sounding bland and mundane to something really spicy and creative. As always, the jam tracks are available on my website for purchase, alongside the tabs if you want a closer look at what I'm actually playing. So other than that, please hit the subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up. Also, drop a comment in the comment section below in terms of what you do to make your chord sequences pop. If there's any Hendrixisms that have infiltrated your playing that you'd like to share with me, I'd be really interested. So that ought to do it for this week, guys. From Guitar with Adam HQ, thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you on the next one.